Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another WWE 2025 predictions video. In today's video, this is going to be the last predictions video we filmed for the year of 2025. It is also the last ever show in which John Cena will compete on. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about Saturday night's main event for December 13th. In Washington, D.C. for John Cena's retirement tour. Currently, there are 4 matches advertised. I am filming this roughly 6 hours before the event, meaning that I doubt there will be any more announced. If there are, however, we are not going to count those for the overall tally at the end of the year, but we are going to go over the 4 current matches. Now, there are no title matches, which does kind of suck, but I understand why. It's because nobody will care what happens other than John Cena retiring. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the matches. Ladies and gentlemen, we kick off the show, or at least what I'm assuming is going to kick off the show, with a champions versus champion match. We have Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, obviously pictured here, versus the NXT champion, Obafemi. Now, I currently do not have an Obafemi action figure. I don't have any of the NXT figures that are going to be on tonight's show. However, we are just going to pretend like Obafemi is there. And I mean, this matchup, I really do hope for one of 2 situations. I either hope for Obafemi to win, which is probably the less likely of the 2. I don't see Obafemi losing. Obafemi shouldn't lose. If Obafemi does lose, this feels like a Vince McMahon thing. But anyhow, it is going to be the other situation, which I'm sure is what's going to be happening, and what I'm going to predict is going to be happening, which is a Cody Rhodes DQ victory here. Drew McIntyre is going to claymore Cody Rhodes. He's going to beat the crap out of him, and that is how they're going to reintroduce Drew McIntyre back into the WWE ecosystem after his suspension. And I'm going to predict that we finally get Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes, probably either at Saturday night's main event in, I believe, they're somewhere in Canada on the 24th, or most likely where it's going to be is at the Royal Rumble. But for this in particular match, Obafemi, I really think, should look strong. Cody Rhodes has been on basically every single Saturday night's main event since the return, so I'm assuming that if Obafemi does if this matchup doesn't end in a disqualification, Obafemi should win. But I'm going to go ahead and predict that Cody Rhodes wins this matchup via disqualification or by a no contest. The next matchup on the show is the WWE World Tag Team Champions AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, not even defending, just facing the team of Javon Evans and Leon Slater, I believe is his name, the current TNA X Division champion. And to be honest, this matchup literally came out of nowhere. I mean, so far, all these matches have just come out of nowhere. But I'm excited for this matchup. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee have been having absolute bangers. I'm very curious why the titles aren't on the line. Like, I get a title match really won't add anything to this. This is kind of all just showcase matches. However, the one thing that I am excited for is I really do think this is just going to be a good 20-minute match. I hope that they don't try and shorten it. I hope this isn't, like a squash or whatever. Not even a squash, just kind of an extended squash, I really hope we're getting some false finishes. I really hope AJ and Dragon, have to fight, because to be honest, AJ Styles is probably the only man outside of Cody Rhodes that actually deserves to be on the John Cena retirement show, because he's the only one that ever has any history of John Cena. So yeah, AJ Styles deserves to be on this. Dragon Lee is kind of like his new protege. But as to who I actually think is going to win this matchup, I do predict it is going to be AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. You can't have your tag team champions getting beaten by 2 NXT guys. One of them doesn't even work for your company. So I'm assuming they're going to have a classic match. I'm sure it's going to be a banger. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, I don't think they are capable of having a bad match. So I'm going to go to though and predict AJ Styles and Dragon Lee to walk out with the victory here and continuing to save the tag team division alongside the New Day and the returning Usos. Next up is Bayley versus Sol Ruca, and before we go ahead and get this started, guys, I just need to say I apologize for the old cruddy Bayley action figure. It is the only one I have. Her hand broke off. Anyhow, though, we're going to go ahead now and get into the matchups after that. Quick side note, it is Bayley versus Sol Ruca, and this matchup, you want to talk about coming out of the blue, this matchup really came out of the blue. It was announced at a random backstage interview I believe Nick Aldis, and it was just Sol Ruca back there, and they basically just announced the matchup. But this matchup I'm really excited for. I'm a big fan of Sol Ruca. I don't watch NXT very often, but some of the matches I do watch, or some of the shows that I do watch, Sol Ruca has definitely been a standout. And I'm actually going to go ahead and predict that Sol Ruca wins this matchup. I see no reason for Bayley to need to win this. She's already an established star. She won't lose anything from losing this matchup. And currently, she's actually part of a tag team. And she's lost to, Cora Jade this year. She's lost to Lyra Valkyria this year. She's lost to Roxanne Perez this year. So clearly, she is all right with losing to these younger talent. So I'm sure Bayley is actually pitching backstage for her to lose to Sol Ruca here. So I'm going to predict Sol Ruca wins this. It's the only women's matchup on the show. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a nice 12-minute match out of this. And yeah, the only way I see Bayley winning is if Zarya accidentally costs Sol Ruca, but so far they're not even announcing that Zarya is going to be in her corner. And to be honest, I really just think that Sol Ruca is going to win this match clean. It's going to be a good matchup, and Sol Ruca is going to walk out with the victory. And ladies and gentlemen, the main event, the last ever WWE match of John Cena. It is John Cena versus the last time is now winner tournament, Gunther. And man, this matchup could not be more of just kind of, I don't want to say a letdown, but definitely not how I think a lot of people wanted this to go. Obviously, Gunther is definitely a good opponent. I really think they should have ran it earlier in the tour, however. And I don't want to say, it should be Edge, but it really just shouldn't be Gunther. I mean, I didn't want it to be Jey Uso. I really don't know who else you could have had retire John Cena besides like a Randy Orton or a Punk. So like Cena's definitely got all of his highlights for the most part. He never got the match with The Miz. But other than that, though, I do see this matchup being better than a lot of people are going to give it credit for. Gunther this year has had some great matchups, even somehow got a 15-minute match out of Goldberg, which is really saying something. And I mean, Cena, Gunther's just kind of that typical Cena heel. He's going to get mad at the crowd. He's an anti-American figure. And, he's just going to do whatever it takes to get Cena over here. But as to who I think's actually going to win, a lot of people have been saying that it's going to be John Cena. But I do not see that. I think Gunther is going to win. And I really do think they are going to have John Cena go down, giving Gunther the win. And I think Gunther from there is going to go on to retire more legends. I mean, Rey Mysterio is going to need someone to be retired by here soon. I don't think it should be, I think it should be Dom. Anyhow, though. But whenever it comes down to it, I think Gunther wins, not by tap out like they're trying to get us at. I think John Cena fades. I think we're going to kind of predict how this matchup is going to end. I think we're going to see John Cena locked in a version of his own STF, and then get out of it with an attitude adjustment. He's going to almost have it. Gunther's going to get his foot on the rope. John Cena's going to go for one more. Gunther's going to counter it, drop him down into the sleeper hold, and John Cena is going to fade for his last ever match, giving Gunther the win, giving Gunther that rub. And to be honest, I kind of feel like it'd be a mistake to have Gunther lose this, because Gunther's going to be the guy that's on TV for the next 10-plus years. And I don't think John Cena needs to go out. He got all these victories earlier in the year against Cody, Punk, Randy, AJ. So I think it's time, he gave his victory to Dom. He needs to give this victory to Gunther. And I'm sure John Cena is perfectly fine of putting someone over as he goes out the door. So I'm going to predict Gunther chokes out John Cena to win this match. And yeah, guys, that is going to be my John Cena Retirement Tour Saturday night's main event, December 13th. 2025 predictions. Go ahead and leave your guys' predictions down in the comments below. But once again, we'll run it down real quick. We got Dragon Lee and AJ Styles beating Javon Evans and Leon Slater. We got Sol Ruca beating Bayley. Cody Rhodes beating Obafemi by disqualification. And then Gunther choking out John Cena. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, like I said, go ahead and leave your predictions down in the comments below. I apologize for a bit of a quicker video. We still have the Royal Rumble video that I'm going to be uploading coming out for you guys today. And, it's just a bit of a smaller show, so it's a bit harder to get much time out of this. But ladies and gentlemen, I thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.